Right? That's the whole thing, Renee. Okay, well, freak. Like, if somebody can just copy you, like, what do you do? So, like, there's a lot of things that you can do, Renee. I'll just hit on a few of them through a few different stories, if you'd like, or we can take this conversation.
Yes, please. No, we want to know, how can we protect ourselves when we have all these brilliant ideas we want to execute and we want to protect?
100%.
Yeah, worth $1 million. Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
And welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so good. We have someone with us who is absolutely amazing. His name is Daniel Jen, and he became fascinated with marketing and sales almost 2 decades ago. Today, he is the co-creator of the X Factor Effect methodology, where he and his team have helped over 20,000 students and clients grow their businesses. Daniel teaches that different is the new better. And his framework includes 9 pillars for differentiating your business so that you can become a market leader or category king for many years. Daniel has traveled the world full-time with his wife and 4 children, and they continue to travel often and now live in Florida. Y'all, put your hands together for Daniel.
Hey, thank you so much, Renee. You are amazing. Oh, I'm doing all right. I made it to CrossFit this morning, and you know the number one rule about CrossFit, right?
Oh my God. I don't even hardly know what a CrossFit is.
If you're in CrossFit, the number one rule of CrossFit is always be talking about CrossFit. So I made it to CrossFit this morning. It's just a gym. I just went and worked out. So the number one rule of working out is tell everybody that you worked out, right?
Right. Sometimes I tell people I work out and I don't work out.
There you go. 100%.
Right. It's just not my thing. I'm sorry, but you look amazing. So I see it works.
Well, you look amazing. I mean, wow, I love your setup. Well, I just got this, this white background and a microphone. So there you go.
Hey, it works. Hey, keep it basic, man. It works. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. And you look great. You sound great. That is what's most important.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. I know we met at PodFest, which I've been all over social media just bragging and talking about PodFest. And if this audience has never heard of PodFest, please Google it. PodFest 2024 was the absolute bomb, okay? When I tell you that they had so many tracks for learning, whether you're wanting to monetize a podcast, get tips and tricks for how to even start a podcast. Some people were there just because they had the idea of maybe they might want to, eventually one day start a podcast. And they were just there to get information. And then there were people who were there who were seasoned, who were speakers, who were given all the golden nuggets and gray matter that they've learned along the way to help us get better at our craft. And the tracks were amazing. The educational sessions were amazing. organization of it all, I just thought was so well done. You know, coming from an administrative background where we had to plan events and different things like that, when I tell you every component of that run of show was so magnificently executed, I am not exaggerating. So, so, so good. Do you agree, Daniel?
Oh yeah, I agree. It was a blast, and I loved getting to meet you. But it was a funny story how I met you, Renee. I was walking by, and you know, I was networking with people in the hallway, and I keep
Mhm.
walking by this, and there's this group, and then I peek my head in, and I notice that there's water. I'm like, well, I'm thirsty, so I'm gonna go grab a water. And then there was an open seat, so I just sat down, and then before I knew it, I got to know everybody in the room, and it was great. And that was totally fine because you guys were just a meetup that was planned by one of the members inside of the group, and yeah, you guys were very welcoming. So
Yes,
thank
and
you.
it was so funny. My goodness, because it's like we don't know you and you don't know us, but we're gonna get to know each other.
Yeah, it was.
It was
That's the
so good.
way these events work, and it's magic. It's magic.
I'm telling you, because you never know who's gonna cross your path. You never know who you might be able to speak into, something they might need to hear. You just never know. So, so, so good. And I know before we get into our journey, I'm gonna actually pause for a second because I feel like I am dripping sweat on my face. So if we could pause for a second, I need to dab so I can get these sweat beads off my head. Okay. So Dan, it was so great meeting you at Podfest. But I didn't really get a chance to get to know you very deeply. And I don't really know your story, but I think it's really exciting, the little bits and pieces that I have heard. So can you tell us more about your journey in the world of marketing and sales and what inspired you to create the X Factor Effect methodology?
Well, I've got a lot of stories, and thank you so much, Renee. So I'll share one of the main ones. It's one of the ones that I rarely share, but it was super exciting at the time. So I for a while was what's called a super affiliate. A super affiliate is a person that sells a lot of stuff online through different affiliate programs. And I had this company come to me, an insurance company, and they said, Daniel, we want you to start generating thousands of insurance leads every single month. And I said, holy smokes, insurance has been around forever. Insurance has been around before I've been born. Like, how am I going to help you generate thousands of insurance leads at the cost per lead that you want me to generate it at? This is crazy. And
Wow.
so I tried a few things. And the first thing I tried was to advertise the same way everybody else advertises. Now, if you've ever advertised the same way that everybody else advertises, what happens is you get the same mediocre results that everybody else is getting. And it was not going to cut it. Like, I was not going to hit the numbers that this company wanted at all. So I said, I have to do things way differently. And so I researched and studied, and I pulled out all of my marketing courses, and I'm like, what do I have to do? And the bottom line was, I have to do something dramatically different. Lots of times people fall into the trap, Renee, of trying to do things slightly different in their market. And if you want big results, you need to pick big, sticky, wildly successful ideas and test them.
Right.
And that's what I did. What I did was I said, all right, everybody's mainly sending people to these forms to fill out the forms to generate the lead. What if I take an old school approach and I create what's called an advertorial? Now, advertorials, if you go back into the marketing archives, it's been around for a long time. And an advertorial is basically an article, and they used to put them in the newspapers, and they actually still put them in the newspapers. And the article is a paid placement. And in that article, at the end of the article, it has a call to action to buy something. And I said, what if I create the first advertorial online for car insurance? And I kid you not, Renee, I invented the very first advertorial selling car insurance online. I have checked multiple times. Nobody before me had ever created an advertorial, an article that told a story that then sold that car insurance. And I created it and I made the website beautiful. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put it to the test. I put it to the test. And sure enough, because the article warmed people up and because I was hyping up the service that compared car insurance quotes and talked about the savings that so many people had received, that article warmed people up enough so that most people, when they went to the website, were going ahead and filling out all the forms. And at the end of the day, my cost per lead was dramatically lower than average. And for about 6 months, I made an absolute killing, Renee. I was making so much money with my advertorial and nobody was copying me. It was just me and I was generating all these leads and I was just living it up. And I was like, yes, I've hit a home run. And then guess what happened, Renee?
What happened?
Everybody and their dog started copying me. And if you've ever had copycat competitors copy you to the point where it eats away at your business, it is extremely depressing.
Yes.
And so what I did was eventually with that, I was able to keep on running traffic and generating leads for about another year before it just like my competitive advantage completely disappeared.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I did some things right, Renee, but I did some things wrong. So I differentiated to the point where I could break through the noise, but it was too copyable. It was too copyable. And so that was kind of the big catalyst into how do we break through the noise in our markets with our products, our services, our business, and our marketing and our sales, but to the point where you have such a unique competitive advantage, Renee, that people don't copy you anymore. And so that you can maintain that competitive advantage.
Right. That is most important. So I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm so happy for your initial success and being the forerunner and the trailblazer for advertorials online. What would you say would be
just for the car insurance, by the way?
Oh, for the car insurance.
Just for the car insurance.
But from that, I know that, as we go through these different experiences, there's always a lesson to be learned. What would you say would be the greatest lesson that you learned from that experience?
The greatest lesson is that there's certain things that you need to do so that you never get labeled again as a me too business. You want to avoid at all costs being a me too business. And I've got a pretty cool analogy. People love analogies. Okay, so here's the analogy. Imagine if your industry was like a bucket of mostly green apples. And okay, so you would be seen as, if you also created a Me Too business, you would be seen as one of those hundreds of green apples.
Got it.
So what you need to do is dare to do things differently. And you need to become the single red apple amongst those hundreds of green apples. Because what happens is there's people in search of green apples, right? But if you're the only red apple in a sea of green apples, what happens is that people that are shopping for apples, you become a clear alternative when you're a red apple, because you're still an apple, but you're just different in a specific way where people like all eyes on you, right? If you imagine a red apple in a bucket full of green apples. So the question is, how do we become that red apple? And what we have been able to figure out is that there's 9 pillars that you can follow in order to become the single red apple that has such a competitive advantage that it is extremely hard for your competitors to copy you. And so that was kind of the basis of our X Factor Effect methodology. How do you stack those differences inside of your business to the point where people throw up their arms and say, fine, you're just way too different. And if I copy all the ways that you're different, then I'm clearly just being a copycat, right? If I have one USP, one unique selling proposition, or one unique way of selling things, it's really easy to copy. But if I layer upon layer different things that I'm doing inside of my business, and then somebody tries to copy that, it's obvious that people are trying to copy you. And I've got a pretty cool story. But Renee, I want to hear from you too. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, first of all, I love the fact that you identified what was necessary to stand out as different. And you captured them all in your book, which we will talk about hopefully in a lot more detail real soon, so that we can stand out. And I love the imagery that you gave of being green apples, a bucket of green apples. Anyone can easily see in their mind's eye a bucket of green apples and that one red apple sitting on the top. So I love that you stress the importance of standing out, not being copyable. And I'm wondering if there's some kind of way to even trademark a process or trademark a thing. Like, could that advertorial thing that you did have been copywritten in some way so that it couldn't have been copied by anybody else? Like, it was your thing. I don't even know if that's a thing, but anyways, that's what
is different things that you can do, but because of the nature of how that was created, I would have, people sometimes they copied word for word what I did. And then a lot of times they just changed up the words. And so they passed that copyright filter. They didn't break any laws part of the time. And then some of the times they just completely ripped me off. So the question is, right. That's the whole thing, Renee. Like, okay, well, freak, like if somebody can just copy you, like, what do you do? So like, there's a lot of things that you can do. Renee, I'll just hit on a few of them through a few different stories if you'd like, or we can take this conversation.
Yes, please. No, we want to know, how can we protect ourselves when we have all these brilliant ideas we want to execute and we want to protect?
100%.
Yeah, worth $1 million.
There
I don't
you
have
go.
$1 million, but it'd be worth it.
All right, here's one cool example. An old school example. So in 1921, so Gerard Lambert, the son of the founder of Listerine, he was reading through a medical journal that mentioned the word halitosis, and the term takes the Latin word for breathe, halatus, and combines that medical ending with osis to describe bad breath. And Gerard realized that the word could be used in marketing campaigns to describe a health condition in need of a cure, in this case, bad breath, but the medical term halitosis. And so they created a bunch of advertisements where they kept on talking about halitosis, halitosis, halitosis. And the cure for halitosis is what? Listerine, Listerine, Listerine. Halitosis, halitosis, halitosis. Listerine, Listerine, Listerine. Bad breath, bad breath, bad breath. Listerine, Listerine, Listerine. And it got to the point where they owned the word and phrase. They owned the word halitosis in the minds of the consumers and the phrase bad breath. And it got to the point where if anybody that had a similar product to cure bad breath used the word halitosis, consumers confused whatever product that was and assumed that they were talking about Listerine because the cure for halitosis is Listerine. At least during the 1920s and the 1930s and the 1940s and the 1950s. That was the answer. The cure for halitosis is Listerine. So if any competitor said halitosis or bad breath, immediately people thought, oh, Listerine.
Right.
So
they were like doing the marketing for Listerine.
Yeah.
Trying to be copycats.
So can you own a word or a phrase? X factor effect methodology, right? The X factor effect. We're trying to own the phrase X factor effect. If somebody else starts saying X factor effect, but if I get to the point where I can own that phrase before everybody else, then they're like, wait a second, X factor effect. So like, isn't that like, so for example, so Alex, owner of Podmatch, right? In the minds of everybody at Podfest, Podmatch is who? Who's the Podmatcher?
Alex.
Alex is the Podmatcher. He and the community of podcasters match somebody through a podcast, Podmatch. He has owned within the past 6 years. This is a perfect example. Within the past 6 years, he owns the phrase in our minds, Podmatch. Matching people through podcasts, match people up through podcasts, all those different variations. That's Alex. That's Alex. The only way he could lose that positioning is if he stopped talking about Podmatch.
Right.
But he goes out, he keeps talking about matching people through podcasts. He jumps on podcasts. He has his podcast and he's talking about matching people through podcasts all day, every day. He's owning the word in the minds of the consumers. People can't take that away from him.
Now he's even doing pod talks. So that whole audience that he's built is like now following that, almost like in the TED Talk way of doing the pod talks, which are so incredibly amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, great example. Great example. I love that. And so when you can own something or automatically have people think of you when they hear a word, that's the ultimate goal. That's what we want. And that's what's a part of the whole branding and marketing as you're trying to increase sales, is what it sounds like you're saying.
It is a possibility.
It is a possibility.
It is a possibility. There's we have 9 pillars that we teach in the X Factor effect. And then within those pillars, there's like sometimes 10 to 20 different ways that you can differentiate yourself and stack upon everything that you do, those differences, so that you're to the point where you're such a unicorn that nobody is going to copy your version of the unicorn because it's going to be just too obvious.
Right. Got you. Daniel, can you tell us a little bit more about those 9 pillars? Or, I mean, that would be really great to know, even just the first couple. And then we can tell people about your book as well.
Yeah, I'll hit on just a couple because each one of these is actually like an entire course and methodology within itself. So one of the things we absolutely love to talk about is to, inside of your business, in some way, join the age of experience. What do we mean by that? Join the age of experience.
Okay,
so what we've noticed when it comes to experiences, Renee, is that people in 2024, they are kind of sick of buying stuff. They have enough stuff. And so because everybody has enough stuff, what people default to a lot of the times is using their disposable income on experiences. And so if you can combine, you can relate to that?
Oh, yes.
All of that extra money is going to what, Renee, in your case?
Our trip to wherever our next trip is. So we love to travel like you and your wife. I'm sure we haven't traveled as extensively as you have, but my husband and I love to travel, and I have big plans for us.
Awesome. No, I love it. But so more and more people are defaulting to that. If you have disposable income, then you are spending it on experiences. So people want an experience. And the question is, how can I align my brand with an unforgettable experience? And then one great example I love is, have you ever seen the Will It Blend videos?
Will It Blend videos?
Yeah, maybe if I explain how sticky this is, then you'll be like, okay, I actually have. So there's this old guy. his name actually is Tom Dixon, and he takes his Blendtec blenders, and he has all these viral videos where he blends stuff inside of the Blendtec blenders, and he's literally like taking 2x4 or like 2x2 pieces of wood, like ray candles, glow sticks, etc., and he's like blending in his Blendtec blender all sorts of stuff. He even like blends an iPhone, an iPad, like, and it blends. It actually blends.
Wow.
And so so there's a story behind it. So I interviewed Tom Dixon. He told me the story. So he told me that before his viral Will It Blend videos that came out around 2006, actually. So this is, I mentioned this example because these videos, they actually won an award for like the most viral videos that like actually increased sales. So it was viral video. There's viral, right? And then there's viral that makes money.
Right.
So like he won multiple awards for like viral campaigns that like boosted the bottom line. And so the story is that he used to have, and he still does. So the Blendtec blender brand, he used to have them in all of the Starbucks and all of the Jamba Juices. And he thought that was going to be enough where that he would just start selling like crazy. So this is like around 2004, 2005. He had all of his amazing blenders inside of the Starbucks and the Jamba Juices and other juice shops. And he thought that he's like, I'm in all the Starbucks, right? I've made it. Like everybody's going to buy my blender, right? Well, guess what, Renee? They didn't.
Oh.
They didn't. Very few people noticed that it was Blendtec blenders being used inside of the Starbucks, probably mainly because it's like hiding behind the counter, right? And so people aren't really paying attention to it. And so his sales did not take off like he thought they would, even though he had such an amazing blender. And so he hired a marketing guy. And then one day that marketing guy's like, what's all these wood shavings on the floor? And they tell the marketing guy, that's Tom just trying to break the blenders. He literally like jams these 2x2 pieces of 4 like as hard as he can into the blender, and he makes a big mess, but it like grinds it all up, and he's trying to break the blenders because he wants to keep on improving his blenders. And the marketing guy's like, well, there's this new thing called YouTube that just came out. Like people want to see that. That's cool, right?
Right.
And so he told Tom, hey, I'm gonna film you. I'm gonna go buy some stuff and you're gonna blend it and we're gonna put these videos on YouTube. So he goes out and he buys some marbles. He buys some more 2x2 pieces of wood. And he buys like a rotisserie chicken, right? And he's like, all right, let's try to break some blenders. And they start filming these and it just takes off. The videos go immediately viral. One of the first viral sensations on YouTube was the Will It Blend videos.
It blends. I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, and it was creating this watching experience, and people were like, "Holy smokes, that's amazing!" But it was an experience to watch the videos. Some people would even like let their kids like watch the videos like on the weekend after they had like done all their chores and whatever. Like, let my kids watch your videos after they've done their chores. And so you've got these whole families, right, watching these videos, having this experience, and they're seeing the blender, and the blender's amazing. Oh, it can blend anything. So obviously it's going to blend my whatever I'm making, my soup, or my smoothies, salsa. Yeah. And it just exploded his sales.
Wow. Wow. So the key then is to you have a thing, and the key to making it stand out is to, first of all, video is so important in sales and marketing, and capturing whatever that experience could be. So join the experience age, I think is how you refer to it, right?
Yeah, the age of experience. Yeah.
Join the age of experience. And so when we can, with our product or service, create an experience that's worthy of, telling others about, then that's one of the pillars that is leading us to success. This, one of the X Factor success secrets.
Yep, that's one of the 9 pillars. And we did hint towards another one, so don't worry if you're listening to this episode and you're like, we were going to talk about 9. You've only talked about 2. Okay, so we did talk about a second one. That's the second pillar that we already started to talk about, was create ideas that influence. That has everything to do with the book that I just launched. And then that Listerine story, where you own a word or phrase, that's one of like a bunch of things you can do to create ideas that influence. And when I say ideas that influence, what I'm talking about is super sticky, big, bold marketing messages that just break through the clutter, and that obviously lead to sales.
Right. So. And I think that's what in that group where we met just by happenstance, one of the ladies saw you with a box, and they said, that's what did she call it? A den box?
Well, she said, "Is that a Mark Stern box?" And I said, so I have one of my good friends is Mark Stern, and he helped me design the box. And I said, no, it's not a Mark Stern box. It's a Daniel Den box, and Mark Stern helped.
I love it. Tell that story, because I think that was like, what a small world, number one, for you to randomly walk into this room and then have somebody immediately recognize a product that you were carrying.
Yeah. That's sticky, right?
Right.
She, I think it was Carrie, and Carrie. So Carrie was like, "Oh, like that's really, really cool. Like, how did you do that? Like, did Mark Stern help you and everything?" Here it is. It's actually free. So it's what comes with the book, and one's on the way to Renee right now as we speak. I really wanted Renee to get hers before, but this is, so I opened this and I was like, I don't even know if this is in order. Oh yeah, it's in order. So, oh, there you go. Yeah, free, there we go. Free box experience. I opened the box, and people were like, "Holy smokes!" And it's got the book, and it's got like 5 different envelopes to activate what, Renee? To activate the
X Factor.
The experience.
The experience.
So it's got 5
unboxing experience.
Yeah, there's 5 different envelopes that people open with different tools, and each one of the envelopes gives people tools in order to help them discover their own wildly successful marketing ideas. And you can only, people cheat all the time. People have been telling me that they've been cheating. But you're supposed to open the envelopes at certain times during the book, right?
Okay.
And so you'll read a chapter, and then, or in the middle of the chapter, or at the end of the chapter, it's like, okay, now go and open envelope number 3 or whatever, right?
Right.
And then at the very end, you can't have envelopes without a secret envelope. So at the end, there you go. Renee, you're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love
it. I love secret envelopes.
Secret envelope. Yep. Every envelope's a present. So it's a present with multiple presents inside. And so we wanted to practice what we preach, ideas that influence. Right. And we said, okay, what can we do that nobody's done yet? What can we do that nobody's done? And the idea was, at least for now, unless we go bankrupt, it's a free plus shipping interactive book box experience.
I love that.
Oh yeah. And it comes with the mug. You were just showing the mug. It's got the mug as well.
And who doesn't love a great mug?
Yeah.
I love you have pens in it. It's supposed to be coffee in that thing.
Yeah.
But probably not for people that go to CrossFit. I'm sorry.
I drink coffee, so there you go.
Oh, do you? Okay. Probably got all those natural herbs in it and all that.
How am I going to be excited for this interview in the morning with you, Renee, if I don't drink my coffee?
Well, hey, I totally get it. You see me with my big soup mug of coffee here. I totally get it. I'm a coffee addict and I'm proud of it.
There
But
you go.
this is so innovative, so creative. I absolutely love what you've done. And then so it sounds like when you get this box, are you or Mark are able to tailor it and brand it to companies and they put in their own stuff? Is that the
Oh yeah,
experience?
like if you grab one of my boxes and you want Mark to help create a brand experience for your company, 100%. The purpose of my box is 100%. I want to inspire you with wildly successful marketing ideas. If that wildly successful marketing idea is to also create a box, then yeah, let's get you hooked up with Mark and let's go with that. But my goal is to help activate you and your business with X factor pillars inside of your business so that you easily break through the noise. And so what we've found so far with the boxes that I've sold is that about 1 out of every 3 customers is sharing it on social media in some way, either commenting about it or doing an unboxing video or just sending a picture or doing a story saying like, look at how cool this is. And if you have a product, if you can have a product that's so different, that different in a way that people love because it creates, in this case, an experience. There's other ways to have X factors as well, but this is like obviously experiential, right? Like that's the big thing we were going for. If you can have a product where 1 out of 3 people are talking about it on social media, holy smokes, like that's what we're going for. That's how we break through the noise. Or at least one of the ways.
Right.
Because we only talked about 2 of the pillars. So
right. And so everyone has to get this book. So that they can, number 1, get the rest of the pillars, the other 7. But when they go to the bigboxideas.com,
bigideasbox.com.
I'm sorry, bigideasbox.com. It's on the screen. But it's just one of those things that kind of helps prompt other thoughts. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you see something or you hear something or you visualize it being unboxed in your mind, you're thinking, oh, that works really great for that. I wonder if it could work really well, for this aspect of my business or that aspect of my business. If I have a brick and mortar building and maybe I have a daycare center or something like that, and maybe it could be a kids box or, something like that to help them learn their ABCs or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you get to this part, of a book that whoever writes or whatever, and then they go to this envelope and get to, learn something new from whatever they learned in the chapter. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like your idea prompts other big ideas.
Exactly. So. And you reminded me of one of my favorite examples for your audience. So are you a fan of the Dove, Renee, have you heard of the Dove Real Beauty campaign?
I believe I have heard. I know Dove for sure. The Real Beauty campaign. I'm probably sure it has something to do with washing your face with Dove soap and being a natural beauty.
Yeah, well, yes. So what Dove was able to do, this is like $1 billion example. Like literally, like
I've been living under a rock. I'm sorry.
So no. Like this is one of those like you have to like geek out and like know like you have to be like so submersed in what I'm doing to like know about this stuff. So you've seen the way Dove does their advertising.
Absolutely.
And so what Dove was able to do back in 2006, it all started with they started doing some billboard. 2004. Now, what they did was they started to sell this concept that your appearance should be a source of confidence, not anxiety. Your appearance should be a source of confidence, not anxiety. And the campaign started with billboards in the UK and Canada, and it asked people if they viewed the pictured women as fat or fit or wrinkled or wonderful. And you had these beautiful pictures of where like these beautiful women, and it's like fat or fit, wrinkled or wonderful, and like just beautiful women. But you know, one of them is an older lady for the wrinkled one, but she's just like stunning, right? But she's got wrinkles, right? So wrinkled or wonderful, right? So the purpose of the billboards was to start this conversation about society's definitions of female beauty. And one of my favorite ads in the campaign, you're gonna have to look this one up. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So one of my, so here's like what so that started at the billboards, and then what kicked it off even more, and like people just went crazy was there was this video that they did, and the video starts off it's called the Dove, if you want to look it up, the Dove Evolution commercial. Okay,
the Dove Evolution commercial.
Dove Evolution commercial. This one launched in 2006 after they started to see traction with this campaign. And the commercial starts by focusing on an ordinary, when I say ordinary, like she's beautiful, but they tried to portray her in the video as an ordinary woman sitting on a chair. And then you witness this time-lapse video where a dramatic transformation occurs. There's multiple makeup and hairstylists preparing the woman for what looks like a Hollywood photo shoot. And her skin, where it previously had like a few little blemishes that were still beautiful, but a few, right? You now see the transformation, and you see a vibrant uniform color, and her hair looks super full and healthy and curly, and she looks like she's, you know, Hollywood ready, right? And then it gets even worse. You're going to understand why I'm saying worse in a second, because as the time lapse continues, you witness the photo shoot. Then out of like 50 photos, they choose the best picture for editing. And then you start to witness the alteration of what you would already consider a beautiful photo. And the designer edits the photo by extending, like literally extending the woman's neck, and then making everything skinnier. The eyebrows are adjusted. The eyes and lips are enlarged. Okay.
Gosh.
Right. Like straight up, like, you know, like just crazy town. Right.
Right.
And then the commercial ends by them putting the photo on a billboard for a makeup brand. And then it said, and then the commercial ends by saying, "No wonder our perception of beauty is distorted. Take part in the Dove Real Beauty Workshop for Girls."
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Love that. Oh, that is so good.
So
good.
So the results, here's the results. Dove still does this type of marketing. This Real Beauty campaign, like they're still doing it, and people just love it, and they form a connection with Dove products. Maybe you love Dove products, maybe you don't. It doesn't matter, because Dove has hit it out of the park, whether you love Dove products or not, because they found the messaging that resonated with real women. And
because even their men's line, they now have Dove for Men.
Yeah.
And those Dove for Men commercials, love them.
There you go.
They show men doing real men things like holding babies and being dads, and things like that. So yeah, I love them.
So here's why this is $1 billion example, Renee. So just the numbers. So they started in 2004 with this, and their sales increased from around $2.5 billion per year, and now they're over $4 billion per year in sales. So just running these types of commercials over and over and over again, this type of messaging. So
yeah, billion with a B audience.
Billion. Yeah. Added an extra 1.5 billion plus per year to Dove sales.
Wow. So the messaging is so important. How you relay your message about your product or service. That is what's so key and critical to X factor success for your business. So definitely get the book, audience. Get the book, read the book, get the box. Share your unboxing experience on social media, and definitely shout out Daniel, because he is the one who's exposing us to all of this great knowledge, giving us this tremendous experience on today's show, sharing these incredible stories of what was, and then what happened, and then the actual end result of what can be if you actually implement these suggestions. Definitely game changers for your business. Daniel, how can our audience stay in touch with you and reach you and get your book?
Awesome. So yeah, it's bigideasbox.com. There's literally a big fat button on the website that says, click here if you want one of the free boxes. Oh yeah, that's the big button. There you go.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I love that video. Confetti, put confetti on me.
Yeah, it's actually 10,000 ping pong balls that we dropped on top of my head. So
Oh, I love it.
and so that's where you can grab one. Just free plus shipping. And then Daniel Din Official on Facebook and Instagram. So
got it. All right. Well, we will definitely, then there we have your Facebook page. Make sure you go to the right one. There's so many scammers out there trying to impersonate people. Make sure you get the real Daniel Din on Facebook. And I love this major audience that you're speaking to.
Thank you so much.
It's a great picture.
Oh yeah, that was a fun event. That was actually, yeah, I'll tell that story another day. So too many stories.
Yeah, you've got a lot, and that's what makes you so good though at what you do, because you don't just keep those stories to yourself. You share them with us and others and inspire us to continue, striving to do whatever it takes to stand out from the crowd and to build our businesses to be as successful as they absolutely can be. So I truly appreciate you.
And you do as well with your amazing stories. That's why we love you, Renee. So thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. It's been so great having you on the show, Daniel. You were made for something great. So go and be awesome.